Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are lying.
Lying.
And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin. Season 2, Episode 13, The Talking Machine.
We start off inside the mercantile, and I kind of have to take a minute to describe exactly what it is we're seeing here. The talking machine. It's actually like the first attempt at a recorder. So it looks like a long cylinder that's got like this bullhorn attached to
A megaphone, even. You could use a megaphone
type
as an idea.
of bullhorn thing attached to one end of it. And it's got a crank handle on the other, and when you spin this crank, it rides up. It kind of looks like the wheel on a music box. If you ever seen a long music box wheel, it rides along this and then plays music. Here's this guy in the mercantile. He's trying to sell it to the Olsons, and Harriet right away is not interested at all and pretty much tells him to pound salt.
Well, and he's trying to convince them, you could play music on it. And they're like, we have a piano. And he's like, you could hear your voice on it. And Mrs. Olson's like, I can hear my voice very well. Thank you very much. We are not interested in your machine.
Right. So
he's just striking out
we
here.
We do learn from him. He said his wagon broke down and it's over at the livery being fixed, and he was hoping that he could sell this to pay for that. So that's where we're at so far.
Well, and he was trying to convince Nels, you can hear your wife's voice on it. And he said, the only way that I want to hear my wife's voice is to turn it off. Yeah. So this guy just swinging a miss over and over and over again. And he's out the door and it's about to rain.
Oh, yeah.
It must be immediately afterwards, because even though you can see the sun everywhere, it looks just very sunny. We still hear that storm is rumbling in. The kids are just getting out of school, and Nelly comes down the stairs, and she flops her books out of her hands into the dirt, and she goes, oh dear, whatever she said. And now we have another curly-haired boy we haven't seen before. His name is Jason, I think. And he does some kind of experiments, and Laura's over there dawdling. Mary is just not happy because she wants to be power walking wherever she's going, and she is interrupting the flow of the power walking.
Especially if there's a storm coming.
I mean, really, they have like a 3-mile walk to get home. Like, I think you would want to kind of get home. But Laura is dawdling because she's trying to get the attention of this kid or something to do with this kid.
Yeah.
And
so it looks like Laura and Nelly both have eyes for the same boy again.
Yes. And then Nelly strikes out because she's trying to entice him with candy. She wants him to walk home by the store. I mean, her store is like, 50 feet
it's
away
right
from the
there.
school. I mean, my goodness, she practically sleeps in the schoolyard. They're so close. But she's trying to get him to go over there because they have new different kinds of penny candies. And he is uninterested. And he said, I'm kind of in a hurry. And Miss Beadle tries to give him an extra assignment. And he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, really, what kid wants, just because he's talented, she's telling him how talented he is.
Yeah, I'd love to do more work.
I'd love to do more homework just randomly because you want me to do more homework. Like, really? So now Laura is running through a field after him after she told Mary, tell Ma I'll be late.
You made a good point earlier when we were just talking and you said, what are we in, a horror movie? Because I had seen Laura do something I've never seen her do before. She's running after this kid and she runs into the field and she trips and falls over.
Like flat on her face.
Like they do in horror movies. They said, well, the kid's name is Jason.
Yeah, so we were laughing about that because Jason and horror movies are kind of synonymous.
So she catches up with this kid and he's putting together a paper kite. And he seems kind of bummed out because he's like, we're too late. The storm's moving off to the south. So She goes, well, I can help you do that. So they end up getting the kite in the air, and they got a really cool shot from overhead as this thing was going up. And now the kite's flying, standing in the air. He pulls this key out of his pocket. It looked just like a Ben Franklin experiment flying.
Yeah, he's getting ready to tie it under the string.
In a thunderstorm. So then we see Mary, who's just getting back to the Ingalls farm, and Pa's up on the
and his hair is super long in this season.
Oh, it's grown. But Pa's up on the soddy house. Looks like he was putting a new sod roof on it. And he wants to know where Laura was. Oh, she said she was going to be late. And he was like, oh, did she get a bad grade? No, she's in love with a scientist.
And then he's just like, oh, okay. And he just keeps putting sod on the roof.
Got
like,
the Chaz smirk.
Yes, we got the smirkaloo. We go back over to Jason and we get this whole try again because it's not the right kind of storm. The conditions aren't right for the whole thing, but they're going to keep on trying while that kite's up in the air. And then this kid, Jason, says that Ben Franklin was president. And we go over to the farm, and they're sitting around the table at the Ingalls farm. And they're sitting at the table, and Carrie is over there looking very uninterested in whatever dessert they're eating. She is not interested.
Before you even go that way, this kid said Ben Franklin was president. We got to call that. Lyin. He was a founding father, but never president.
He was never president. And Ma says, well, that's the first I've ever heard of that. And now, this is an unusual thing, and Pa even calls it out. Mary and Laura are bickering back and forth, and then Laura finally says, well, he was a president. They're like, what? And she says he was a president of a stove company or something like that. And then Pa says, well, I'll have to look that up, but he did invent a stove. But they were bickering back and forth, and Mary even like crosses her eyes. She's so exasperated with Laura.
She's rolling
saying
him.
She is stuck on Jason the scientist. But it's a kind of unusual to see the two of them bickering like this. It is different.
Let's not forget, and Pa did make the comment afterwards, well, don't, own up to it. He might be a good prospect. She's 9 years old.
Yeah, I was saying that. I'm like, how old is she? She's like 9 or 10 over here, and she is over the moon again. She is always over the moon about some boy.
Gotta love them 1800s, huh?
Yeah, they really got them going quick.
It's nighttime. They just finished dinner. Pa's out in the barn working on a wagon wheel, and Laura's sitting in there with him, asking him all kinds of questions about... I think I know, Pa. I think I know what my problem is. I'm not pretty enough. And Pa going, oh, that's not everything. And just the whole back and forth with it, where Pa finally ends up saying, well, any boy with any sense knows to look for the other things. But yet all the time,
and stuff like that.
All the time, he's always telling Ma how pretty she is. So does that mean that we got to call out a mini... Lyin. You do care if she's pretty.
Well, he's constant. I think his actions are kind of like opposite of what his words are saying, because he is always complimenting.
It might be nitpicking, but this is our adult perspective on it. It's like you're kind of going back and forth on this whole thing.
Well, and he's telling her she's pretty enough and all this other stuff, but he's always complimenting Ma on her looks, and people are always complimenting Mary.
But Laura definitely has the love bug for this kid.
Oh yes, and we find out that they are maybe someday in the future there will be lady scientists, and that there were already lady doctors in Mankato. Ooh. Now we're in Nelly's room, and Mrs. Olson is on the bed folding clothing, and Nelly is trying to figure out why this Jason is uninterested in her, because she's certainly prettier than that Laura Ingalls, and she has tried to bribe him with everything she can think of. And it pretty much was a conversation of what thing could you bribe him with the most.
Right.
I'm just going to sum it up like that, because honestly, it wasn't really even worth that time. But what ends up happening is Mrs. Olson, when she finds out that this Jason kid is into science, goes running outside for Nels, because she thinks about this talking machine that they had turned down, which is a very, very new invention. Now we're at the livery, and Charles, the wheel that he was fixing, he is now putting on the carriage of the guy who was trying to sell this talking machine, and he puts it on there, and they have this conversation about how, do you think my mare spooked because she's a female? And they keep doing this thing where male and female things in a lot of their episodes, it gets on my nerves. But they go back and forth, and even Charles says, even men spook and lightning sometimes. Like, it's not just a female thing. So thank you, Charles. But
thanks, Chaz.
The bill is like $6.85 or something like that. $4 for the labor and $2.85 for just the stuff that he needed, the wood and everything that he needed to fix this wheel. And this guy says, well, since the doctor, because he had hurt his knee, I forgot to mention that earlier, he had hurt his knee when his horse sent him into the ditch because of the lightning. So he ended up giving all of his cash to Doc Baker, which is unusual because Doc Baker very rarely gets paid in cash. He usually gets paid in chickens or something like that. Some kind of apples, eggs, something like that. So he gave all his cash to Doc Baker, and he is looking to make a payment in kind. So he is going to give this talking machine, which he claims is worth at least $50 to Charles. And he demonstrates how he records his voice on it, and then he runs the reel back, and then he plays what he said back to it. And Charles is like, I've never seen anything like it. He said, it's made just like the one they made in Menlo Park, and Thomas Edison just invented this just last year, and of course you've never seen anything like it. And while they were in the middle of this discussion, because Charles is like, what am I going to do with this thing? How do I spend this at the store? This is not something that he was really looking to pay his bill at the mercantile. And here comes Nels. So they end up, we find out that Charles had owed $7, Mr. Cash on the Barrelhead.
Cash on the Barrelhead, still using credit, huh?
Yeah, he keeps running up credit and keeps saying that he only pays cash. He ended up...
Cash on the Barrelhead. That is lying.
Because you just found out from Nels that you had a $7, bill that you owed at the mercantile. So they shake back and forth because Nels all of a sudden wants this talking machine for Nelly. And then Charles says just... pay my bill. Market is paid in full because you got a deal for $7. This talking machine now went all over the place and ended up with Nels after they tried to give it to Charles. But this guy's having a really hard time selling this thing.
Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. But now he's got a fixed wagon, and we are going to find out what's going on for you.
We're at the schoolhouse now, and Jason's standing up in front of the class demonstrating what looks like a little steam-fired engine.
It was really tiny.
I remember these things from when we were kids, and one of my friends had one of those too. You light a little fire into it, and it's full of water, and it makes steam and makes this little wheel spin around. Well, anyway, he's got that working out for him, and all of a sudden there's a thunderstorm. Boom. So, Miss Beadle, can I be excused? Because he's still trying to do this flying the kite experiment. And she lets him go, but tells him that he's got a report due on this the next day. And then Laura's running out behind him. Laura, where are you going? I'm helping him. Okay.
Well, I'm thinking, I wonder how Laura's parents would feel about her going out in the middle of a thunderstorm with a key on a string attached to a kite.
So Nelly chases out after them too, because she's peeved because she's got this talking machine sitting at home, and he could care less. His mind's wrapped around this experiment. So they're standing in the field, and it is pouring rain, but they got this kite flying up really high. They're holding an umbrella to keep the string that's tied to this key dry. And it says, well, what's supposed to happen now? Well, the kite's got this pointer thing on the top of it, and that's going to help to electrify the line. So Laura walks out and puts her hand on the key just as lightning strikes, and she falls backwards and goes, ow! And she, we did it! That was pure 100% genuine electricity! Hooray for science! Hooray for Ben Franklin!
Woohoo! And they're jumping around in the mud.
It was pretty much a repeat from the one where they were mining.
Yeah, where they had the fool's gold in the stream. But a few things to note. Willie, during the middle of this demonstration of this little steam engine, makes some comments and says that how stupid Jason is, and he gets sent to the corner. And this becomes a regular thing that they do with Willie, gets sent to the corner.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the first time since we've started watching all of these in order that I've seen it, right?
You know what else I noticed, too? Did you see Willie's shirt? It looks a lot like the season 1 Chaz shirt.
It must be the
a little
same
bit more
fabric.
pink, but it's like... I wonder how often he's going to start wearing that now.
But he was like a little shrieky Chaz, and there was that. And while they were standing over there doing this experiment with the kite, you see this big storm where the kite is over there, and it's pouring rain where they're under this umbrella that looks very modern with a wooden handle. And you can tell it's sunny while it's just pouring rain all over them. And I like to point out these little things because they make life interesting.
Oh, yeah.
We're back at the little house, and Charles is outside getting wood off a pile that's full on in the rain. And he's getting, he's soaked to the top of his shoulders. He's completely wet. His hair is wet. He comes inside, and Laura is completely like somebody dunked her in a swimming pool. Ma is fussing all over her. They're trying to get the fire going and get her changed out of these clothes. And while Pa's over there soaking wet, and Ma doesn't seem to care about that. Smirkalooing over there with the pipe. There you go. They put her in front of the fire, and they're like, you got to get out of these clothes. You're going to catch your death. And then she does that sneeze. They like to perpetuate these ideas that if you're out in the rain, you'll get sick. But, and then... this used to happen to me. I used to sneak out into the rain and splash around in the water and dance, and then I'd have to come in and take a shower because somehow I was going to get sick, but I was wet either way.
Have you ever heard of a PSA? Wasn't I just saying, ever heard of a PSA?
Yep.
We got Laura and Mary. It looks like they're up in the loft at night, and Laura's got the sniffles, and Mary's giving her the Ma speech about, oh, don't you know, when you get soaked to the skin flying a kite in the rain and your feet get wet,
Ma might have to keep you home tomorrow.
You get the sniffles. That's just how it happens. They're kind of bickering back and forth, but that's all that scene said to me. PSA.
Well, and Mary was kind of making fun of her, and Laura is studying to be a scientist now. Nelly is sitting outside of the mercantile, and she is working on a sewing sampler, so she tells her mother, after her mother says, you need to come in because it's too chilly out here and the sniffles are going around and you're going to catch it. And she has the talking machine sitting next to her on the porch, just as Laura and this Jason kid come out of school. And while they're going by, she had recorded something previously, and now she's playing it back, and he is lured like a moth to a flame to this thing.
Fish on a hook.
Oh boy, did she worked out. So now he's like, oh my gosh. And she said, well, I tried to tell you about it. You just ignored me. I don't even think he heard her. He's kind of got his head in other places.
Didn't she say something like, I didn't think you'd be interested in this?
We know that's a lion. Because boy, did she know that's the whole reason you got this thing. And that's how Charles got this bill paid at the mercantile.
That's the whole reason you're sitting on the porch.
Exactly. So, she probably wouldn't have even been sitting out there either way. So she definitely had a whole heap of lion. Thank you. We needed that. But now she goes inside and she says, well, just Jason, because my mother doesn't like a lot of children around the china, which we also know is a lion. Because I don't really think Mrs. Olsen kind of cares. She just likes Nelly to get attention.
Right.
But it worked, and all of that bribing that they were talking about, they figured out a way to do it.
We're back in the Ingalls barn now, where we got Pa hammering some wood on, I don't even know what it is, and Laura's with him, and she's really complaining about how Nelly pulled one over, and she wishes that he had kept that talking machine. And, you get the whole speech, you can't buy friends, and we needed to pay our bill. And after all the back and forth and that, we find out that Laura is going to invite Jason to dinner tomorrow, because if Nelly has the talking machine, then she shouldn't be afraid of Ma's dumplings. So it looks like Ma was just voluntold again.
Oh my gosh, she was voluntold again, and that's his way of saying she was volunteered while being told what to do, because now she's cooking for an extra person for supper tomorrow, whether she knows it or not.
And I must say, that season 1 shirt is looking crisper than ever.
They are just rocking this shirt.
Man.
Now, Laura's over by some water with this kid, Jason, and he had made a little boat out of that engine that he was demonstrating in school. And it actually worked pretty well.
It looked pretty cool.
It did. It looked really cool. And I was thinking to myself, as he's standing there kind of up to his calves in water, they really don't care about their shoes at all in this show. My gosh, they are constantly walking in water up to their knees or more. And they, getting your shoes wet is a significant deal. It can give you all kinds of problems with your feet. They don't seem to care about that at all with this show. But she comes up with an idea, and he says to her, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want any other partner than you. Now, He is thinking science. She is thinking stars in her eyes. She's over the moon. She's making moon eyes at this kid. And yet again, he has no idea. And I was thinking earlier, why do they encourage these relationships between a young girl and a boy that looks like he's like 4 or 5 years older than her? This is not the first time.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what else nobody's thinking about are categories.
Yeah,
very slow on
They're
them.
getting real slow on our categories here, but I feel like there is going to be some crying in our future.
There's something coming.
I believe that we have at least 2 categories because I do think everybody stays alive, and I don't even think they go fishing, so the fish will stay alive too because usually they're the ones dying.
Good point. It's nighttime. We're at the Ingalls, and Jason is over, and he's at the table with the rest of the family, and they're talking about the science experiments, and Laura's all googly-eyed over him, and you can see he's kind of getting a little bit embarrassed. But then we switch scenes, and then we're over at the Olsons, where they're having dinner, and Nelly's having a fit, because saying she hates this Jason, and we find out that Laura just came into the store and invited him while she was trying to entertain Jason. And in the middle of all that, Nels finally snaps and tells her to hold her tongue and then snaps at Harriet and
saying that Nelly is too young to blow the foam off a sarsaparilla.
But in the middle of all that snapping, Nelly ends up running away, and she is
crying.
Thank you. You finally knew that we needed a category.
We needed the
scriptwriters.
Categories.
So while Nelly's upstairs doing her crying, all of a sudden she stops and she's staring at this talking machine, and she picks up the horn of it, and she was about to smash it when all of a sudden she pauses, and you could see it's like reminding me of the Grinch. She had this awful, evil,
she had
wonderful,
an awful
idea, and with the smirk.
Oh my! I mean, they even like focused really close into her face, but she's got a scheme.
The devil is in the details on this one.
Now, this is one of those unusual circumstances. Laura is in town by herself, bringing Ma's eggs to sell at the mercantile.
Yeah, we don't see that very often.
I mean, it's very rare, and I'm trying to figure out what day of the week this is because it doesn't seem like they have school at all. It seems like it's during the day. And then she comes up, she meets Nels, who's sweeping on the porch. That's a frequent thing. Nels is frequently sweeping the porch. And he brings her in. He gives her credit for the eggs, and he asks her what she needs. She needs sugar and some cream of tartar. And while he's getting that, he gives her a gumdrop for free. He's nice like that to the kids.
He is. He
but
cares.
while all this is happening, here comes Nelly down the stairs, and she is being saccharine sweet. Oh, my gosh. And she's like, oh, hi. And, what you would like to come upstairs? And why Nels didn't see something coming here, I don't really know why, because he should know his daughter by now, honestly. But she tells her, take some gumdrops, a handful of gumdrops, which Nels didn't protest. And usually he protests about them taking a lot of candy, his own children taking candy. They go upstairs, and she says, your room is so beautiful, Nelly. And she's like, Nelly's like, you've seen my room before. And she has seen the room before, but it had been a long time since she's been up there. And then she says, well, you can come over anytime because we're friends. And that's a lion. And then she goes over there and says, lay on the bed. And she's looking at this doll that she got all the way from Paris, France. And she gets her talking about Jason and how she feels about Jason. And she's like, I won't tell anybody. And we already know because we've already seen this episode before. That is a lion. Because behind some kind of thing, here is Willie with his hand over his mouth snickering, and he's operating the recording part of this talking machine while Laura is spilling her guts about how much she likes this kid Jason.
Oh, not good.
And how she thinks in the future that they're going to have some inventors thing where they do inventions while you wait together. So she has some long-term plans about her and Jason here.
Oh, yeah. Nighttime at the Ingalls, and we're up in the loft with Laura and Mary, and Laura's trying to convince Mary that Nelly's changed somehow, and she's turned over a new leaf, and all Mary can do is turn into a mini-ma.
Oh, she was grouchy. I mean,
talking about, you turn the other cheek, but you know what Pa said, turn the other cheek, but watch out. And they get scolded by Pa, because of course this is a one-room house.
But they're bickering back and forth again, which is an unusual thing for these sisters to do.
And Mary's trying to tell her if she gave you gumdrops, she's after something. So we go to the next day, and they're in school, and after Jason gets done explaining how this talking machine works, Nelly goes up, puts it down, and starts playing it, and she's playing the whole conversation that they had in Nelly's bedroom. And as a result of that, Miss Beadle gets really mad, gets up and tells Nelly, stop that, turn it off. She's going, I can't, it's broken. We're going to call that Lyin. All she had to do was stop turning the handle. But I guess Miss Beadle saw that because she actually pushed her arm off the unit, which in turn made Laura turn around and run out of the building, and she was crying. The writers finally got it right. We got some action.
Yes, we did. Boy, Laura ends up running so far while she's crying that they did a bunch of different cuts. I was like, what, did she run halfway across the country over here? Well, she ended up in that field where they had done the experiment with the kite, and she lays down on the ground crying, and then she looks up and finds the key, which really makes her cry. And Mary came after her and tried to console her, and she sent her away. So she went home, finds Pa over there with Mary went home, found Pa over there with the dream team of Jingling hooked up. She's plowing the field or harrowing the field or whatever he was doing. And she tells him the whole story and how she wasn't, doing well after this whole thing happened in school. And he gives her the team to bring back home. And now Pa goes walking up over the hill because he knows where she is. And he's going to find Laura to see what's happening.
Oh, boy. So Pa finds Laura sitting by this tree, and she's still sitting over there crying. And yeah, that was kind of a dirty thing that Nelly did to her. But Pa sits down and talks to her, and he tries to calm her down, and she's talking about how she never wants to go back to school, and he must think she's a silly goose, and he's doing actually a pretty good job.
We got to give him an attaboy.
At consoling her. Yeah. So, attaboy, Chaz.
No, he really was. He was sweet with her, and he gave her good advice.
But he does tell her to go on home and tell Ma that he's going to be late for supper. He's got a few more things to do, and I think I know what he's going to do, because he had that little not even a smirk. He had just the look.
He had the gleam in his eye. Yes.
Yep, he's going to whoop somebody's ass.
He's got the gleam. Well, Charles was good on his word. He went into town. He went right up to Mrs. Olson, said he needed to talk to her husband. And then she says, oh, he's busy. And he just yells out, Nels! So Nels comes out, and he tells the whole thing of what happened and what the demonstration. We're not going to go through that all again. And then Nels comes over after he gets Mrs. Olson to stop complaining and stop trying to get in the way. And he calls the children down, finds out what happened, and Nelly immediately starts lying, saying, well, Willie did it. And Willie says, well, she told me to. So now he sends them back up. He assures Charles that he's going to take care of it and to apologize to Laura. And he grabs a belt off of one of the hooks nearby the stairs, and he goes to go upstairs, and Mrs. Olson's like, Nels, what are you going to do? And he says, what I should have done a long time ago. And Nels is not a disciplinarian with these kids at all.
No.
This is a really big deal for him to be stepping up like this, and this is a very unusual episode for him to be yelling at the kids in this way, where he's being very firm with his own children, because usually he lets Mrs. Olson get her way, and while she's protesting, he says, well, then start cranking on this thing and you won't have to hear it, because he's going up to give them a whooping.
Oh yeah, that's going to produce some future crying. Thank you, script writers.
We knew they had our backs.
Nighttime at the Ingalls, and we're up in the loft with Mary and Laura. Laura's not going to sleep. She's convinced that things are not okay, even though Mary's trying to tell her that Pa said everything was going to be fine. And they go back and forth a bit, and Mary actually, I think, does kind of convince her maybe a little bit that, I bet Jason still likes you.
Right, and that everything will be okay.
So the next day they're walking into school, and Mary's kind of tugging on Laura.
She's holding her hand, bringing her into school.
She's bucking like a horse. And you get to the school, and who's standing right at the stairs but Miss Beadle and Jason?
Yep.
Everybody's walking in. They're one of the last ones to go up the stairs. Laura turns around, looks at the back of Jason's head. He was doing the Doc Bakeritis thing.
Yes, he had his back. Once he saw her, he kind of turned to the side, and then he avoided eye contact or any kind of contact with either one of them when they walked in.
So when they get inside the building, the kids are all standing up and giggling and pointing at the blackboard. And written on the blackboard in a big heart with an arrow through it says, Jason loves Laura. Now Laura sees that and immediately starts crying. And as Miss Beadle comes in and sees what's on the board, she is livid.
And all the kids are tittering.
Yep, far enough. And we're not going to open a single book until I find out who's responsible for this.
Yeah, she wants a confession.
And then we're all surprised when it was Jason that stood up and said, I wrote it, Miss Beadle, and I'm not going to apologize because it's the truth. And Laura went from crying
well, she was
to
crying.
smiling. So I guess...
And that's what happens when you miss your cues.
I guess Mary and Pa were right. Everything did work out, because then you see them, after school walking through the field, and a little voiceover by Laura saying she didn't know if she was really going to be a scientist, but...
or if she was going to marry Jason, but she just was happy to know that he loved her. And I will say, this is the second time they've done this now with Laura being interested in a boy that is significantly older than her.
Yeah,
and
you just want to say, don't worry.
Ick. No, but it gives me
the episode's over. You won't see him again.
Yeah, I don't remember if we see this kid again or not. But I mean, Johnny Johnson we saw again though.
We did.
We did see Johnny Johnson
later,
again.
But same thing. He just vanished like.
Yeah, well, I think we saw Johnny
like
Johnson in like 2 episodes, but she was into this Johnny Johnson kid who was like 15 or 16, to her like 8 or 9 at the time. And now she's probably 9 or 10, and this kid also looks like he's 14 or 15, and they keep encouraging these relationships with these big age differences, especially for like young girls like this. It just, watching it back as an adult, it gives me the ick, and I can be honest about it, it gives me the ick.
So be sure to tune in to the next episode, which is called The Pride of Walnut Grove. And that concludes this episode on Dyin,
Cryin
and Lyin on Two Luckies. The podcast.
We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go check them out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast.
Woohoo! You made it to the end.
Yay!
It's fun fact time.
It is.
Season 2, for some reason, has been the episodes of the thunderstorm. The last few episodes we've recorded have all happened during a thunderstorm, and we thought, hell, today's going to be different. No, all we had was a little bit of rain and then maybe some sun peeking through in between. As soon as we started recording, kaboom.
It has, yes. And that you are talking about us recording during thunderstorms while we're watching episodes that have thunderstorms.
Fortunately, knock on wood, we haven't lost power yet.
Well, we did last time, but...
Not during the episode.
No, not during the episode. Right after. I mean, it was like the last time was like 15 minutes after. But we've watched things with heavy rainstorms. Remember Me had a heavy rainstorm. This one had a heavy thunderstorm while we're recording during thunderstorms.
Coincidence?
Maybe not. Well, so thanks for sticking around. We appreciate you.